Hi everyone, welcome so much to Legends and Lore Season 2, Episode 3, and we are live with the Bards of Greyhawk from Genghis Khan 42 in Denver.
We're the Bards of Greyhawk.
Yep.
I think you're finding all my crazy.
Yep, so this will be a kind of special episode, so we'll see how this goes. At least we got a connection to Denver, and it seems to hold up for a bit, so let's sit back here and enjoy some Bards of Greyhawk.
Let's let the people filter in and listen.
Yep.
Whoa.
Another one. This is called the Magic Fiddle.
The Magic Fiddle.
Yeah.
That's Jeremy on the magic fiddle, everyone. Let's give him a big hand.
Thank you very much. I'll be kind.
Well done.
Now, for Greyhawk fans, we're going to play the song we wrote in honor of Caraptus from White Plume Mountain.
Oh, awesome. Caraptus.
What we did is we took the lyrics that Lawrence Schick wrote for the poem in the beginning that the lords received. And we took those words and we made this song.
Oh, cool.
All
Awesome.
right.
It's the first song we actually arranged and composed for this band.
Just go. Yep.
All right, so this is our stuff about Dungeons and Dragons. We're just playing some Irish tunes that we learned back in our Irish band, which when we met, we started this band out of that band, and this was the first song that we wrote. We got really inspired by the Plume Mountain, or the S2? Very good. Yeah, S2. So anyway, we like the story of rap. We saw this poem by Lawrence Schick, and that's how we started writing these songs. Search you far or search you near, you'll find no trace of the three. Unless you follow instructions clear, for the weapons are with me. For the weapons are with me. No vast forest, small and furrow, you must go to the town. Then down away from the sun you'll burrow. Forget life, forget sound. Forget life, forget sound. Rescue away, you must do battle with the beast in the four and the cover. Cross cover and fast, where chain links rattle. Life well, as far as not double. As well, as double. Black ladies are young when they stay one defenders in the right. But from the day that march your tongue, for now you'll find you are caught. For now you'll find you are caught. Search you far or search you near, you'll find no trace of the three. Unless you follow instructions clear, for the weapons abide with me. For the weapons abide with me. I cannot go alone as brave when heroes you see to hire. No might, no make, each one my slave. Oh, send them to the fire. Oh, send them to the fire. Oh, send them to the fire. Oh, send them to the fire.
You're up.
Thank you. Hey guys, what's up? Troy, haven't been a while, man. Elliot, how you guys doing? Hey. Let me think sound out there. More guitar.
Crowd rolling in.
Yep.
Good.
I don't know how many are watching at the location. We'll see. Yeah, maybe you can show us that later. Yep.
All right, how's the sound out there? Good?
Yep, it's okay. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right, so okay, so he's probably signed my module to A1 by now. So going by with it, obviously. So this yellow sails. So this piece is about the A1, the Slavers stock item. That's the second one, actually. This is about the city of Nashville.
Yep. Now we fell down a bit, but he'll fix it. Yeah, Nick will fix it.
Professional balance.
Yep, we have the mishap. Yep. Now we're upside down. Yep. Well, it happens. It's live, so things like that happens. Yep, now we're upside down. Oh, they are rather.
You read the first edition. It's yellow sails, damn it. It's not no darn purple sails.
All right.
Yep. Oh, see? Now we fell into a hole here, so we get every spell in the book tonight. This is awesome. Yep. From illusions to reverse gravity to falling into a pit and all sorts of cool stuff. Oh yes, thank you.
All right. Ready? 1, 2, ready, go. How about you play bass? What do you think, man? Sure. Okay, so yeah, another thing about this band is we play way too many instruments. We're all good. And Rich was a bass player in the Irish band when I started. So I like his bass playing, it's pretty good. Don't trip over your feet, man.
We're good.
Anyway, also, as you see our nice art by Jeff D here, who's sitting right here. Thank you, Jeff D, for being here. He did this art for our album cover. We have a comic book that he's currently underway, that he's almost done. It's beautiful. So if you guys are interested in that, get with us and we'll get on your email.
Now we're upside down again. Yep.
It's not going to be too long. It will come out.
Yep.
Your tuner was out, man.
Yeah, I guess this is when you do things live, you don't know what's going to happen. So we'll see. We're falling into we have all but reverse gravity seems to be a theme today.
I don't know how they do that.
Yeah, I guess it's the sensors in the phone or something. So we'll see. Yeah.
Oh, right.
Yeah, in the smartphone.
We'll tune the bass, I guess, after the set's over.
All right, let's try this again.
So without further ado, the yellow sails.
Gary Con's only 2 weeks away.
Yep. Yep. Preparations are underway, but now we have to listen to the show at least and see it upside down.
Along the sea of Belmont, one walk to the right coast. The rollers on the yellow sails, and the looking unprovoked. They plummeted innocent citizens, offering to the dark night, to the fury bells of been slow, to random deceleration single. We can help this human free, so they will gas jacks, coastline, lie down, sinking packs of wild dogs. Along the sea of Gavroche, along the wild coast, the rollers on the yellow sails, looted on the boat. The abandoned towns of the coastline, now foul, stench and rotting. The lords unite to take action, their scrolls now forgotten. Bribes have been accepted, and agreements ignored. Forgetting their petty squabbles, the lords unite to take action. In the city of High Court lies the Marauders' port of entry. Cooler-headed adventurers have chosen a plan of stealth to see their loved ones and kin. They shall infiltrate with caution. But the strength of the Marauders is not now. Closing their slave traders, they will deal with these unsavory creatures. But the temple at the edge of the city is guarded by humanoids and humans. Fly up into the lives. The secret door at the back of the temple has been easily unlocked. We now proceed inside. Into the undercity, the heroes now must go to rescue the taken innocents from the slave pits down below. On through the sewers of the city, Oh, this old Sunday sent man to the countries on the slave roads to bring the tongues from chapter defeating the high court slaver, they died with their head in the heart. The routes of the slavers paradise, for now we know they won't be turning back. Thank you. Sure. So, I think for me, Dungeons and Dragons has led to a bunch of other fantasy stuff, and when this Game of Thrones stuff came out, I was totally obsessed with the song. I just said, the song is so cool, it's a great song. So, paper, my friend? Yep. Got 3, right? Yes. All right. From Greyhawk to Westeros.
Okay.
From Westeros with love. From Greyhawk with love. Money play. Yep.
think we will be in reverse gravity for the rest of the show.
Into the land of the
I don't know
host.
the duration of that spell, but we'll see. Yeah.
Right.
Ooh, Lonely Mountain.
To we lost away to find our love for the trees like Josh's the misty mountains go to dark sea. Our caverns go, we must away at break of day to find our love forgotten gold.
Damn.
From Middle Earth to Tampa.
All right. You know, I used to be an adventurer like you. But I took a heroin to the knee. Any more of those? It's a fine day with you around. Wait, I know you. Everything's for sale. Let me guess. Someone stole your sweet roll. Because she has flares if you have claws. No lolly can get in. I tell you, the tragic on the side. The most living power believe in me, the tragic on the side. Listen to the evil of Skyrim's foe. Beware the dragon walks down. But the darkness has passed and the legend has grown. You know the dragon walks down. And the voice seeking wheel on that glorious field. When great Tamriel shut up in war. Watching through like a blade cut through enemy's jaw. And the dragon born issued his roar. Soldiers go turning black wings in the blue. That one got a great war, welcome to blood. All the wind, the king's ancient shadow unbound. With the hunger kill, swallow the world. But a day shall arise when dark night and lie. Will be silent forever and night. Best time it will be free, the mountains are. And the dragon born, the savior of men. So the king, sing the story, for a dragon, for a fool, I'm around the show, I can know I'm around, I can only do time, I the siren. Thank you. Evil laugh. Okay, what's next, man? Let's do guitar key. The key? Yeah, let's do the key. The key. Yes, and here's one we haven't played in a while.
The Keep of the Borderlands here.
Mm-hmm. The most classic adventure module. That's how I learned Dungeons and Dragons.
Upside down too. Mm-hmm.
Caves of Chaos.
Yeah, that's true. It's the caves of chaos are there too. Yep.
Stuck in the blood. This is for everyone who played Keep on the Borderlands. I remember this one. It's been a while, man.
Mordenkainen is kind of tough today. He's really
Yeah, he's critical.
yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right, here we go. The mankind is narrow and restricted. The forces of chaos upon its borders crush. What the enslavement populace. That's not a pathetic kid. It's been too long since we played that song. We're going to remember that one. Okay.
Yep.
If you can remember the defenses and traps. We're switching it up to a giant song now.
Oh, so we're off to the Giants. Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Yeah.
We really wanted timpani drums for this. So probably another classic is Adventure was definitely the Giants for me. All right, so this was meant to be like a lumbering timpani drum riff. Snoring giants. Silently, holy shots of the doors and you. I run along the wall. The heads of monsters and animals. They'll among them all. The giants with built defenses and traps. Every time the adventurers come by, against the falling at the time. The shame of the hill giant fire burning tall. Rollicking shouts and laughter echo beyond the great hall. Rusty monkeys play knucklebones, dire wolves fight and growl, cowering under the master's wits. The huge old Southern call. Smoky torches, one floor blackened skull. Hunchback twisted, but wandered on. But they're alive. Now quite insane. The giants will build defenses and avoiding the minds of men. Death and destruction to the setting of the hill giant plan. Delivery of the hill giant team and insidious, harrowing hill giants comes at a deadly price. Iron cell swords fall victim to club and trap. But in awe and disbelief they behold the cheap sparkling treasure hoard, gleaming with brilliance before them. Defenses and traps. There you go. Yeah, the process of writing this second album was kind of long drawn out. I had it totally mixed and completely mastered, and my computer completely crashed. And I had to start over from the very beginning, and there's like 22 songs on this record. And
Yeah, really.
Well, so, going back to the keep, I was like, how do we play that song? Oh, man. Anyway, play that one next time. Let's do the Fire Giant song. Sure. Okay, we're going to keep with the Giants theme here.
Mine? It should be covered up. Well, he's over there with it, yeah.
I know. Yeah. Like, there's no way he's trying to sell that.
No, I'm not trying to sell
I said
it.
he just got.
I might actually, though.
I thought it was some of this.
I don't know. So yeah, this is about the all of the Fire Giant King Smear.
Yes, Ep3, Fire Giants.
Which I don't think I ever played this one. I think I got killed in the treasure room of the first one. I got killed in G1 with the traps in the treasure room.
All right. Thank you, everyone, for hanging out with us online.
1, 2, ready, go. Oh, others have taken up, flee to safety. Rest at last, I battle to the end. Between torches and down the street, behind which hides the guard. Victorious fire giants in crimson shades, they bronze on heads to warn the hall of the king. For heads to see no vibration, 2 centuries wash the hall. Light flickers strangely from burning gases, shooting from the wall, the hall of the king. Oh, laserbeams and those they take, flee to safety, the rest stand fast. And battle to the end. Twists and turns to the hall of the keys. Lifeless monkey composing. The walls are tinged with bloody red. Light from glowing laurel beds. Torch you up on the royal dance floor. Gigantic outside. From themselves, we free our wells. From the love that the people from distances and dimensions, lost in flying light. Purple moons and lavender rays, the temple of the eye, the temple of the eye. Oh, I know that you please the rest start the fox. I battle to the fire tracks. Yes. You like that one? We didn't do. Well, you could be a fire giant. Why don't you come up here and pose for the camera? Charlie, come on, man. Fire giant. No. Video, bro? No, no for our video. Okay. Well, we appreciate this. Bro, thanks for signing my 1,000 modules, man. Oh, thanks, man. Oh, nice. There we go. Alrighty, enjoy. Hey, have fun running your game, Jeff. We got to pimp this comic book again that Jeff D just is almost done with. Yeah. Just listen to the cover. It's beautiful. Nice. It's been so cool, man, watching it develop. As he's sending us the mail, his emails, and say, oh, that's so cool. And then the next color shows up, and you're like, yay! And then you off. Oh, yeah. This is so cool. Thank you, Jeff. Jeff D, everyone. Let's give him a big hand. All right, we're going to do another one here. From Greyhawk back to Middle Earth. Middle Earth. Middle package. Send off the Greyhawk.
Right.
Bilbo Baggins, I'm not trying to rock you. I'm trying to rock you. Just expected him to do that. Come on, man. Why don't you do it? It's better when you do it. Bilbo Baggins, I'm not trying to rock you. Trying to rock you. Yes, trying to rock you. Yeah. Yeah. All right.
Thank you, Greyhound Channel.
All right, what do we got now? See if I remember this one too. Where's now the right one? Where's the horn that was flowing? Where was the helm and the harbor and the bright hair flowing? And the tall form goes. They passed like shadow under the mountain. thank you.
Okay.
You guys, thanks for listening.
Show
Now
is
you go.
going on upside down. We'll see here what happens. Yep.
Song here. All right. Please check for a comic book.
These bards might be vampires.
Yeah.
We'd like to thank Genghis Khan. We're going to shout out to our friends at Secrets of Black Moor showing their film. Come out and check out our cool stuff at our booth. Thank you so much. This one's called Drowsy Maggie.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bards of Greyhawk.
Thank you. Thank you, Greyhawk Channel. All right, thank you.
All right, so stick around and we'll go to interview Jeffrey here. Oh, he's running the game, so.
Let's see. Now
We'll go around. Hold on, Anna.
okay. Yep. We holding on. We holding you up.
We are holding.
Yep. We are holding. Yep.
Here we are at the convention. Look at all the gamers.
Yep. All the gamers, but they upside down. Yay! Nope. Still upside down. Yep. Still upside down. Yep. You have a reverse gravity in at the con. Oh, yay! It's back. Okay, so now we have, let's see if I can adjust the audio so in case we'll see what.
So, taking a break.
Yep. Okay, so now at least we got to listen to some awesome bardic music. Thank you so much.
And muted.
Oh, you muted. Yep. Let's see. Damn. Okay. Well, we heard the music. We'll see if we can get you back.
Music.
Yep.
No, can't hear him talk.
Yep. See. No. Yeah, we'll see here. Yep. That's what
All
happens.
kinds of
Wait.
technical
Yep.
glitches.
Yeah, now we have a silence spell. We've gone through half the spell book tonight, so it's been kind of awesome. Yep. So we have had silence, reverse gravity. We've had all sorts of stuff, and we had a Mordenkainen incursion too. He's been kind of feisty in the chat tonight.
Yeah.
Yep.
Now we.
Okay, how about this? Is this too loud?
No,
Hey.
this is good. Perfect. Thank you.
Okay. I'm not sure how we got muted there,
It's okay.
but
Yep.
we did. But we did.
Yep.
So thank you so much. There it is, our banner by.
Oh,
Nice.
awesome. Cool. Yep.
Woo-hoo! There's the giants, the gods, and Loth.
Oh, we have law.
What I want to tell you guys is, I'll announce here, one of the first to know, is that Jeff D has been secretly working on a project for us for the past while.
Wow.
What he is doing is he is drawing a comic book for us.
Oh,
Cool.
now we're talking.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so it's about Loth and the last songs we have on our second album that we'll be re-releasing as an EP in conjunction with it. So we're going to try and meet some backing because it's going to be so amazing. The artwork looks tremendous. Let's go see if we can see any. Hold on.
Yeah.
Jeff D's one of
He
my.
might have left some for us here.
Yeah.
Let's take a look.
Yeah.
Let's see. Oh my goodness. Here we go.
Oh, there we are.
He and Jeremy brought all of his stuff that Jeff did, and he signed it all.
You gone for the old school look. You've done it to perfection. Yep.
Yeah. So whatever Jeff did, he signed in all of these modules. You know.
Wow.
And that's Alan Hammock who wrote this one. He was here 2 years ago, and he signed this one. So yeah, all of it. But let's take a look now at. We'll show you the first page. Here we go.
Oh, that looks fantastic.
Massive gates of beaten bronze. And there it is. This is in the Vault of the Drow.
Yep.
Blackstone Tower, the vampire.
Oh, that looks so good.
Isn't that amazing? So he's also going to be doing a comic book for us as well. But yes, all of this is going to be so fantastic when he's all done with it. So you guys are the first to see this.
Oh, that's so awesome.
Yeah, we haven't shown anybody all of this. Look at that artwork he's done.
So we have a
So
world exclusive tonight.
Wow.
That's perfect. Oh,
This
that's
is
super
the
cool.
Greyhawk exclusive. This is brand new art from Jeff.
Yeah.
About Queen of the Demon Web Pits. And there it is there. And you should see the color ones. They look amazing. But there they are with the traps. And this piece right here, this corner, is an homage to the other piece that I think Diesel did.
Jackalbear.
So he kind of did an homage to that. And here we are, if you recognize that. The spider and the drow and the demon itself. And there she is. Loth.
Oh, that is awesome. Yep.
Yes. So we're really looking forward to it. We're going to need help in promoting it. We're probably going to do some sort of crowdfunding, probably a Kickstarter.
Yeah.
The last page, there it is here. So there it is, folks, exclusive for the Greyhawk channel.
Awesome. Yep, that's great.
Excellent. And I think he's got this one from Dragon Magazine.
The Garden of Nefaron. Ooh.
Yeah. So that's cool. Very, very good. Thank you guys for hanging out with us. We can keep you live if you wish. We're going to clean up and tear down all of this. So, did you have any questions for us?
Well, if we could just get your to say hi to the audience and see if we have any questions real quick in chat.
Okay. Let's see if they have any questions for us.
Yeah, we'll see if
We're
we
gonna
have any.
We're going to switch this around here.
Yeah, now that you have kind of told us the spilled the beans here.
It's not working.
It's okay. Yep. Oh, there's working. You changed switch position, but oh, that's so cool. Yep.
Eric, Jeremy, and Rich.
Hey
Hi
there.
guys. Thank you so much. That was an awesome performance. We saw most of it upside down, but that's okay. Yep.
Are we upside down right now?
No, now you're good. Now you're good. Yep.
Upside down? I
Yep.
don't know.
So
Yes.
yep. So thank you so much, and we're really looking forward to all the new cool stuff. That was great.
Come on, we're just doing an interview.
Yep.
Can't hear.
Okay, so go ahead with any
We had
questions.
a volunteer over here to hold the.
Oh yeah, they're just saying that you did a good show here. So that's that's awesome.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for that, and we'll touch base with you soon again. I hope.
All righty.
All right.
Thank you, Greyhawk Channel.
Yeah.
Good
Take
work,
care.
guys.
Bye. We'll see if we.
Buddy.
They hang up on us.
Welcome,
Otherwise-
Gribbly.
Yep. We'll see here.
They're muted now.
Yep. There we go. And
Oh, man.
now I just need to do this, and yep. Now we're back to the normal again. So we'll see here.
Back to the form. Normal
Yep.
form.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So we
Well,
have yep. That was our first kind of live
Sounded
going
good.
from a concert kind of thing. It was a bit upside down, and we got half the spells in the spell book happening tonight. But that's what happens when you do live. And we had Mordenkainen have been more than active in chat tonight. That's been kind of fun. So let's see what he's up to now. So. But okay, so welcome back to more of the regular show, and we have a little bit of time. So
Yeah.
first, I'm going to ask Mike what he's been up to, and I know there's GaryCon preparations and stuff going on here.
Yeah. So I got a handout ready for GaryCon. If you're not going to be at GaryCon, I'm pretty sure once it's over, on at least from my end, the content that I'm providing for GaryCon is going to be available on my blog, because it's kind of part of an unreleased work I did on the city of Ulakand, the capital of Ul.
Oh, awesome.
I've just been kind of tweaking it over the years, and so you guys will get anyone at the convention will get the first taste of it.
Yep. Yeah,
Otherwise, I started running the Ghost Tower of Inverness last week, and it was a blast.
Yeah.
I never ran it before.
No, me neither. I just read through the thing when I put the on the map. So you wandered down the coast in Woolly Bay and got to it or something, or.
Actually, the story starts out in the Duchy of Ernst.
Oh, okay.
For whatever reason.
Yeah, and then you go across the Aberalts and
they kind of hire you or geas you or like force you to go into the Ghost Tower to get the Soul Gem.
Yeah.
It's kind of an interesting setup.
Now we don't have the map ready here, so I'll go back to this because everything screwed up when we had more video feeds in here, so I need to reset it. So, yep. So, but we can probably work out that screen with two heads. No, that doesn't work either. So we go with this long time. Yep. But oh, that sounds fun. Yeah, I'm starting to prepare my Shieldlands campaign a little bit, moving in baby steps towards starting adventuring in that area in 598 and 599. So yep, where my campaign left off before. So, but I've also been working on some handouts and stuff for GaryCon. So it will, on my part, it will be a presentation of my project, Greyhawk project, and also some what I'm up to moving forward, so to speak. So I will release that first as a PDF to my patrons, but they already know all this, so to speak. So most of it's there, but I will also release some new. Hopefully, at least I will talk about some upcoming projects that are not official yet on the seminar itself, and there will be, and then I will announce that to my patrons before I leave, probably, or at least the same day, and then release it afterwards on my website as a blog post about some upcoming new cool projects that I will do. So that are in the making, so to speak, that I'm kind of planning and a whole bunch of stuff. So I've saved some of the juicy bits, what's coming, what I'm working on for GaryCon. It's only the early stages, but I have a number of projects that I want to kind of test out the waters and see how interested they are in it. And just the handout itself is kind of a folded big thing with a lot of graphics and stuff. And I've been helping Brian Bloomclots with his handout stuff as well. So that could be some really cool stuff for the convention, I think, for the seminar.
What started out as a pretty modest idea has really turned into a work of art.
Yep. So there will be new original art from several artists, I think, and a whole bunch of new adventures and a booklet and a handout and some extra handouts and stuff. So yep.
Well, yeah, Malden, you're gonna be blown away by this thing.
Yep, there's some cool things and hopefully some cool things for the future too, because I think there's an increase in the interest of Greyhawk. At least I noticed that more and more people coming into my Facebook group, more and more people contacting me, and it's getting there. The interest is clearly on the rise. So I'm just trying to meet demand, so to speak, and do it.
Yeah.
Some of the projects I'm doing are so large that you can't really start them on the dime, so they take a while to kind of get underway. But Hepmona Land will, right now it's been kind of set on the back burner for about a month, both for GaryCon preparations and also for my next Cobalt project that is kind of wrapping up. But once that is up and running, then there will be more time this summer. So there will be plenty of time this summer for summer and fall especially. I think that fall will be devoted mainly to Greyhawk project. So yep. So from June onwards there will be plenty of Greyhawk stuff. So I hope that. Yep, so I hope to have by Gen Con would have some new cool stuff to really show off and release. And there's a couple of minor projects too that I'm working on that will come earlier than that. So yep, and then some big ones. So I hope that just like I had this last holiday season, I hope to have the same kind of holiday bonanza this year with some new cool big things too. So yep.
Maybe we can talk Malden into contributing something to the next.
That would be fantastic. Yeah. Hopefully this could be a yearly thing at GaryCon, that we can have a Greyhawk seminar and kind of present new cool things, kind of take a measure of the fan scene, the Greyhawk fan scene every year. That would be fantastic. If we can make it into a recurring thing and we can have stuff out and have kind of a discussion. People can come and new people that do cool stuff for Greyhawk can kind of come forward and present their stuff and their projects and stuff. That will be fantastic.
I just like the idea of having a handout as a memento of that convention, and it being something that people who couldn't make it to the convention then might want, it might make them think twice about coming.
Yeah.
Next time, because they want to get in on this new stuff. Perhaps.
Yeah, because to get the printed edition will probably only be distributed there and nowhere else. So even if you can download it as a PDF in order to get the real printed thing, that will be at the convention. I will print 100 of each of my stuff, and that will probably all be handed out at the, yeah.
Malden's already.
Oh yeah, from the year's handbook. Oh, okay.
Right.
So he's already represented. That's cool. I think we have like at least half a dozen people contributing various things to it. So at least, yeah, I think it's more than that.
See, I got to give all the kudos to you guys, because really I've kind of only been looking out for myself on this one.
well, me too. I just, my original thing was to do the cover art and this thing, and then it separated and it kind of expanded. So then I said that I'd do my own thing that will be kind of a wraparound of the whole thing.
Yeah.
Yep.
So if this thing turns out to be successful, it's I'm riding on their shoulders.
Oh
for
yeah,
that.
but you would do some really cool thing,
Okay.
and looking forward to your comics
Yeah.
and stuff too.
Okay. So Icarus got Malden in there. Man, the guy is
Oh, that's
he is
yep.
persuasive. He's a
Mm-hmm.
networker.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. That's great.
Awesome.
Yep.
Well, then, good job, Malden.
Yep, yeah, the deadline is kind of, I sent my stuff to the printer today, which means that I have about, 12 days to actually get some other thing prepared and done, because I wanted the printed thing to be done, so I don't stress with that the last minute.
Yeah, printing is not my thing. I just kind of like, being an artist, you think I'd be all about the printing process, but I really am intimidated by printing.
Yeah, the funny thing is that when I do a project for other publishers, then I send it, and I also work extra at the print shop from time to time that I'm sending to. So I'm very familiar with the whole process, but not to design and print my own stuff. All of a sudden I'm like, no, now everything needs to be I have no one else to correct me, so to speak. So now I need to double, triple, quadruple check everything myself, and I have to. It's much easier when someone else tells you need to design it this way, and then it needs to be this format, and then you send it, and then they double check and yell at me. Now all of a sudden it's my money and my design and my ideas the whole way, and that's kind of much trickier.
Mm.
So that's kind of it, but it's a very much a learning. There is so many steps involved if you want to get something professionally printed that you might not realize to begin with. So for every freelancer, every artist, everyone who creates and want to distribute using print, it's a much a learning experience to go through all of it, so to get it right.
Back when I was in college, I actually wanted to get into that kind of stuff.
Mhm.
And I think
Yep.
when I got my first taste of it, then I was like, oh, this is too much like work. And I don't
Yeah.
like doing art when it's like work.
Yeah, that was
Like
actually
it's
the very
turning off.
first job I had when I was 15. I worked at the summer and I worked as a photographer for the newspaper, and then when they needed a printer, so I worked extra at a print shop. That was my very first job
Now, I
I had
would
in my
love
life.
to know how to bind books. That would be fun.
Yeah, that sounds really cool. So yeah.
I would love to learn that.
Yep. So now I'm doing some extra work to kind of spice up my InDesign, Illustrator, and Photoshop skills, since I'm working so much in them anyway. So, but that's yep. So this will be hopefully some cool, and we can at least show up and the episode after the GaryCon, we can kind of have a summary of a little bit what happened at the seminar, and we can also distribute some of the links where you can get this material as PDFs and stuff like that afterwards. So yeah, I think that could be a good service. And then hopefully the thing will be recorded, hopefully both video and audio, and then sent. Yeah, and then sent out as later on YouTube or Twitch or somewhere somehow. So yeah, that's the plan.
We shall see.
Yep.
Did we have a backup topic for today, or we might
Not really. We have one topic that we've kind of said that we're going to do sooner or later, and that is to talk a little bit about our own campaigns, because we've kind of talked about generally about setting in many ways, but haven't talked so much about our own campaigns. So are you ready to share some secrets?
No, not really.
No, me neither. I hadn't had that backup. I'm right now. I'm reading through some of I use I use the evil because I want to set it in the Shieldlands after the occupation and kind of the aftermath of the war and stuff. So I'm reading through that, and that's really cool. And I'm kind of, that's one of the best books that I think, or source books that are written for Greyhawk. So
Malden mentions the Gen Con handout. That's Greyhawk Gen Con handout. I completely forgot about that. I know that's one of the few things I don't have.
Same here. Yep.
Yeah. Greyhawk 2000. You see, I just missed it.
And you weren't there?
I feel like I just missed it. I think I joined Cannon Fire around 2003 or 2004.
Oh, okay.
So I feel like I missed out on that. early.
Yeah, those were some of the years where I kind of thought, out next year I need to go to Gen Con once in my life, kind of as a
And
pilgrimage or something. But there was always something with work or something come up, and also I can do it next year. But
and
those
then I
were the
went.
years when 3.5 or third edition came out, and they announced it, and I was like, yes, I need to come. That would, yeah.
I probably went to 8 or 9 Gen Cons.
But that was
And
back in
by then,
Milwaukee, or
no, this is all Indianapolis. That by then,
oh, okay,
but I'm just saying, after the Greyhawk thing died down, is when I started going to Gen Cons regularly. I think the first Gen Con I went to, Living Greyhawk, was huge, and then the very next year they closed it, and then Pathfinder got popular.
yeah.
By then, all them LG players went over to Pathfinder
Yeah,
Society.
but that was like 2008 or something like that when they killed off Living Greyhawk, or
It's
2007,
yeah,
or
I don't know. It just feels like it just I missed the boat.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I lived so far away, and it was really hard just to get a
Oh,
membership in the RPGA thingy. That was it was almost impossible
2008.
in Sweden just to get a membership, because you had to send in stuff that was very American, and you had to have American credit card, or it was a whole bunch of stuff that was hoops that you have to kind of go through, and it was kind of tricky. But then they eventually, actually, Scandinavia got I think it was all the Scandinavian countries had one area. I think it was the NARI or ID, or something like down there. But then that was some of the years that I was so busy with other stuff that I didn't really had the time to engage in it. So yeah. And
Yeah, you see, hanging out at a Gen Con with Malden would have been great.
that would have been so much fun. That would have been fantastic.
Mhm.
Yep.
Uh,
Hopefully we can have some conventions in the future that can kind of bring things up again. And maybe if they open DM's Guild and there will be more kind of organized things, you never know.
yeah,
Yeah, never know.
we're trying.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Uh, well, um, I have a new blog post I forgot to mention earlier in
Oh,
the
cool.
broadcast.
Mm-hmm.
What I've been up to. I put out a quick post on taxes in Greyhawk. Kind of a dry subject, but I thought, oh, it's tax time.
Yes, it's an important one. Think about all the rulers. They need their money to run their
Uh,
realms and their kingdoms and
Take
whatnot.
the City of Greyhawk box set, the Marklands, Ibid the Undying, and I don't know. I mean, they only need a handful of sources,
Yeah.
and you could just go nuts on tax laws
Yeah.
in
So
Greyhawk.
so so Greyhawk, is that more like a European socialist utopia, or is it right wingers happy, say, with no taxes? How are the rulers on the left to right tax scale in Greyhawk, you
They're
think?
all pretty much squeezing money
Uh-huh.
every.
They try as hard as possible to squeeze it out of every
Oh
poor
man,
Greyhawker, or
yeah.
yeah.
If someone reads this article, they're going to hate it because it's going to give their dungeon masters ideas on how to steal their hard-earned gold. Basically.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
So is it just poor low-level normal folks that get trashed from the
No,
taxman, or is it even rich
even rich
people?
folks.
Ah,
Yes.
so
Oh
even
yeah.
if you own a
Oh yeah.
castle and then you okay.
You own a castle, there's a castle tax. If you have
Ah,
a
yeah.
you're a knight, there's a title tax.
Oh, okay.
You
Yeah.
have a magic sword, there's a magic item
This
tax.
is a perfect topic, because in my campaigns I usually put in taxes, like you have to go in a city, then you have to pay a toll tax, and you pass a border, you
Oh
have
yeah,
to pay
there's
a
all that
tax, and yeah.
little stuff too. But
Yeah, you
oh
carry a
no,
sword, then you're rich, you need to pay some taxes, and then of course the taxman or the watchman or whatever who collects the taxes, they need to have some extra, otherwise they will be really forceful in so yeah, so yeah.
it's not. Yeah, they are. Yeah, thanks, Credina. Yeah. So the tax collectors, everyone hates them probably.
Yep.
The good guys, bad guys.
Yep.
I think it's a good foil
Yep.
for people who want to march in the city with their thousands of gold pieces just bustling, through from their pockets.
Yeah.
And want to, let's buy it, let's start a bar. And if the DM really wants to be cruel, get tax the crap out of
Yep,
those.
yep. They're more like organized criminals. A lot of these, they kind
Yeah.
of go around and ask for protection money, so to speak. If you want protection from the ruler of this realm, you have to pay taxes, otherwise we come and trash the place. So, yeah.
Oh, hey, uh, the Dragon Heist adventure, you say, taxes
Ah, okay. Yep.
players. I
Hmm.
might have to look into that.
Yeah, I know the Ultimate Campaign have some cool stuff, and Gary himself, he wrote a
For player
book
time.
about
Hmm.
realms and stuff, and how taxation and things work, and how medieval fantasy world works too. So it's kind of cool. And
See, I'm actually playing in that module that Crudina is mentioning.
mhm.
Me and my friends, this is on Sunday, and we're playing all rogues.
Oh yes,
So not only are we thieves, we're probably also tax evaders.
oh okay, yeah. If you're
Yeah.
really smart, you can go up and say you can get hired as tax collectors too, and then you can kind of
Maybe.
go, yeah.
Yeah, so
I plan, and now my players on my future campaign, I don't really know exactly who they will be, but don't listen too much because I'm going to have some spoilers. But one of the plots I have for one of the possible plots, because I run the sandbox, see, it's actually that they are kind of poor, low level inhabitants of a little village, and then there will be the tax collector coming. So the people that actually have money will try and scramble and simply give it to some of the low life and say, "Run and hide it for me," and so on. And then they can either steal it, or they can hand it over to the tax collector, or they can hide it not too well, and then the tax collector can come after them, and it can be all sorts of happenings and plot twists and stuff about that. So that's one of the ideas I have of spicing things up, is that the taxman is coming, and there will be all sorts of mayhem and opportunities and dangers and stuff happening. So that was one of the plans that I was coming with, and that's kind of appropriate. I think I thought that one up last tax season. That was one of the ideas, and I kind of put it aside as a kind of, that is a cool thing I want to do. So when they're really low level, I want them to either build bonds with some of the high ups, or get enemies, or be able to get some money away or whatever. So yep.
yeah, so like I said, that just kind of came to me.
Mm-hmm. Yep. That's really really cool. It's and taxes are one of these kind of secret weapons you can use as a dungeon master to kind of to alleviate some funds and get it back into circulation again if the
Yeah, you
characters
want
are
to keep the
hoarding too much.
players
Yeah.
working
Yeah,
for
and
it.
and you can tax so many, not only wealth like in form of money and gold, you can tax all sorts of other stuff too. You can tax items. If you don't have cash, then they can take magic items, and various other stuff could be very appropriate to hand over.
Yeah, and then if you're a cleric, the temples are taking your money too.
Oh yes, they have to have their yeah.
Yeah, so there's 10% off right there.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yep. And then you might have, it's this is not, most realms are not monotheistic. They have plenty of realms, so there are plenty of gods who needs their need attention in various things. So there's
Mm.
probably a death tax, a birth tax, a health tax, yeah, and you're supposed to probably pay a little bit token to most of the, on God's Day. You have to go and show your appreciation in various forms and stuff. So yeah. Well, yeah, tax spell services. I guess just knowing about stuff, you might have to have licenses and stuff that are yearly recurring fees and things. So yeah, you can really antagonize the players by making bureaucracy and taxation and stuff, and get them angry, and make them have a scene, and go after, and get them both chaotic and maybe even evil. You can bring out the evil chaotic in any player by emphasize and stuff like this. Yep. Yeah, that
Well,
was an awesome topic, segue into
yeah, well,
taxes. Yep, that
I
was
don't want to
perfect. Yep.
linger on it too long though, because like I said, it's a very dry topic, and as I was
Uh-huh.
starting to type it, I was like finding more and more info on it.
Yeah.
For a while, I was like, I gotta make myself stop because
Yep.
this is
Oh,
getting
it's I
dry.
love stuff, topics like that can spice up
Um,
any campaign. A dry topic that you can play out to be humorous, irritating,
yeah,
and stuff that can bring up the temperature in any campaign can be fantastic plot things, and bureaucrats that you need to get through in order to get in or get out somewhere, or stuff like that. You have to bribe them and stuff. That's gold in most campaigns.
That's true.
Yeah.
Cardini's right. Something to do with your money.
Yeah.
Gribbly wants to know what region you're running
Yeah,
in.
I'm planning to run it in the Shield Lands after so it's actually formerly kind of occupied by Ayus, but it's now 5, 6, 7 years after the war, so his grip is loosened a bit, and so there's like this borderland gray area where other interests are coming in a little bit, and Ayus is still there, so it's kind of a very much in flux, so to speak. So it's that's the area I'm setting it in. It's kind of interesting as a map maker. It's one of the most featureless areas of the map, so it's kind of interesting in that sense too. It's one of these flat kind of
Hmm.
plains area, so to speak. So it will probably be like setting an adventure in Iowa or something like that. It's like it's not much, or the plains of Ukraine or something like that in the real world. But it's kind of a political, religious, kind of lawless, half lawless, kind of very interesting environment that way. Then, and there's a lot of things there from fanatical good paladins and forces that way to demons and just gangs, humanoids, thugs. Yeah, all sorts of conflicts on many levels. So that's what I'm trying to utilize in that campaign coming up. So the taxman was one of the ploys that I was going to see if I can weave in there, so to speak. Exactly, Gribbly. I totally agree. That was one of the ideas. So it's in that way. It's a very has a lot of potential, but it's underutilized that way because now it's after the war and population is low, and there's all sorts of free for all in some areas, and IUs have a grip in other areas, and he's also kind of in my take on it in my version of the my campaign. It's he's actually created it's the barony of export in order to start opening trade with the rest of the world because IUs need resources. So he's kind of I would say he's kind of renting the area out to others. So it's actually a gang of merchants from Greyhawk that got the license to run it as a barony, and they have one of their merchant lords have actually become baron in that part of around export and the surrounding areas north of it, and then you have the Shieldlanders that have the area around Critwall and down on Scragholm Isle. So they are planning to and starting raiding back into it, and they are now dead certain, and they have like they're now hardened, so to speak. They've had 7 years of recovery, and they're now trained and ready to rock and roll, so to speak. So they're coming back again, and I use troops there, or his humanoids are the easy pickings are gone. There are no easy pickings anymore. No one to steal any from because either they have already looted them or they are now so prepared so they not easy to loot anymore. So it's kind of a much more an even fight that way between the sides. So it's a lot of interesting things. And then there's some hidden sides to this too, because the Horn Society is still around, sort of, kind of, in a way, in my campaign
Yep,
too.
yep.
So yep. So you have there are merchants from the Greyhawk. They are sensing profits. There are an IUs that is desperate to establish keep his foothold and somehow start gaining funds again because he used to feed his armies on conquest and loot, and there is no easy pickings anymore, and the humanoids getting restless and they deserve money and stuff. So he needs to come up with alternative revenue sources. Now we're into taxation again, but he doesn't want to pay anyone anything, so he just wants money from everyone else. So that's why he realized that he might have to kind of lease out some land and get some money for that, and also to because the rest of the world would never trade with him, but they might trade with merchants from Greyhawk who are kind of ruthless and out for profit. So that's why he made a bargain and a deal with them to do it. So that's part of it. So that's where the campaign will actually start inside that barony of export. That is kind of a vassal state under the IUs, but with some sort of sovereignty, a bit like Hong Kong in today's world, kind of. So, yep.
Hey, St. Michael. We just got done listening to the Bards of Greyhawk
Yep.
put on the show, and now we're kind of floating around talking
Mm-hmm.
about campaigns
Yep.
and taxes and things.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, we got into tax season and kind of go from there, and so we have a oh yes, we can invite the Scarlet Brotherhood, and in this area, my campaign, the Scarlet Brotherhood are not that active that far north, so to speak. So
That's
I
far
save
inland.
them for as an enemy for other campaigns.
Would
But
you say that the Scarlet Brotherhood can only access things right now that have sea port access?
well, yeah, in my campaign, they're pretty much they're kind of locked down south, so to speak. They have expanded
Yeah.
south because since after the war, there's a bunch of new players that are coming. They have in my campaign, the United Kingdom of Alyssa are now strong and firm, and King Savener he's coming up and he's gaining front. So they have now a rival on the northern doorstep that is starting to pick up steam, and Savener is damn ruthless, efficient, and greedy as hell. So he's kind of starting to be a power in competition northward, so to speak. And Sevener is so he's skilled and ruthless. So when he founds supporters of Scarlet Brotherhoods, he simply take them in the backyard and just beheads them, and that's it. He makes the process short with them, so to speak. So when their methods, he's as ruthless as them, and he's probably even more
But
ruthless than
he
them.
has the advantage of already knowing the Scarlet Brotherhood is
Yeah.
not to be trusted. All these
Yep.
other countries had already let them in a long time
Mm-hmm.
ago before the Greyhawk
Yep,
Wars.
yep. And that was chaotic enough so that and then he kind of rose from that and he is a rogue, really high level, so he kind of knows the skullduggery side of things, and he also now he King Sevener sits on a lot of the trade routes between Central Flanese and the Scarlet Brotherhood. So the Scarlet Brotherhood are kind of little bit either they will be get circumvented to some degree and or they have to cooperate with him, so they have kind of
Uh,
really cool.
so yeah, guys, it
Yeah.
depends on what era you're playing. If you're playing pre-wars, the spy game is on.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Post-wars, I think it's that game's kind of given up, and
Yep.
they work out in the open after that.
Exactly. It was, to some degree it is, yes. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah.
And but you can play that however you want, but I kind of
Yeah. I prefer them hidden.
yeah, yeah. And in my campaign, they kind of consolidated their holding of Tilvanot Peninsula, and then they tried to hold on to the Sea Princes in the west, and they tried to establish their dominion south, and rather that and then just try to guard their northern borders, and then to strike some to control as much of the trade as possible and earn money on it, and rather than trying to, they probably realized that they can't expand much north, so to speak. Yep.
Gribbly, you're right.
Mm-hmm.
The Scarlet Brotherhood is actually 1/3 thieves.
Yeah, exactly. So that yeah. Mm-hmm.
So,
Yep.
yeah, definitely
I really
organized.
envision them like sort of state hoodlums, so to speak. So that's kind of a realm that combined and in that way they're interesting because they are kind of Savener's United Kingdom of Alyssa is kind of a little bit the same way because he's kind of a rogue that runs things skullduggery kind of way, and he's also aligned himself with merchants. So there you have a powerful
Trust
evil rogue that aligned himself with
Oh,
Silcius and the
yeah.
guild of merchants and so on, and they kind of have struck a pact that he can run the intelligence thing. He can make sure that he gets rid of the opponents to the merchants and Silcius priesthood and stuff, and in return he gets probably a handsome part of the profits, so to speak. So
Um, what was I going to say? Oh yeah, it helped that that part, the South Province, wasn't a bunch of anime and
exactly, yeah, not that much, and the war didn't
yeah,
touch them particularly. They didn't get the cities weren't looted and so on. So they were in a very good spot that way. And they also got a lot of people flowing in, so they got a lot of cheap labor and stuff. And they also have good lands for agriculture and stuff. So they probably have a lot of things they can export too. So I see them as one of the winners of the war, so to speak. So, and Savener, he has a lot of he's a savvy, smart, ruthless rulers, and he seems to be charming too. So he can he can be on speaking terms with Nairon and the others up and Greyhawk and so on and so forth.
He wants to actually be a peaceable.
Exactly, he wants to. Yeah, he's more like
an economic force instead of a military.
Yep, exactly. So he's doing it. He builds military strength, but he's wise not only to use it when necessary. And
now here's a question for you now.
Yeah.
So the Scarlet Brotherhood, let's say, is out in the open. They've lost some of their gains, whatever. Yeah. Who do you think, if anyone, could conquer the Scarlet Brotherhood?
I think they're pretty safe in their homeland on the Tilvanots Peninsula.
Crazy to try.
Well, I think that Savener in United Kingdom of Alyssa is probably, if he can get Sundi on his side and rally the other ones around, then they might be in trouble, so to speak. Sorry?
The Iron League.
Yeah, exactly.
The former enemy is the Iron League.
Yeah, exactly. Because Savener and the Iron League are kind of enemies in most things, but if they can somehow cooperate, they might be powerful enough to to get it. So the Scarlet Brotherhood have to make sure, but because the Iron League, the Scarlet Brotherhood still have scanned and some holdings in their backyard. So in that way, the Iron League and United Kingdom of Alyssa have a common enemy in the Scarlet Brotherhood. So that kind of unites them. But on the other hand, they are also rivals because the Iron League are the ones that kind of holds key land that King Savener wants, so he can trade more with West, with Keoland and up to Greyhawk and stuff like that. So,
oh yeah, let me post a link.
Oh yeah, awesome. Yeah.
So yeah, Gribbly, Nyrond is hard up for money. Furiandes,
yeah,
hard up for money. That's part of the whole tax thing that I was writing about.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I think that it's kind of interesting. And then you have North Kingdom is another one of these kind of interesting. So it's kind of a free-for-all between a lot of mid to fairly strong enough countries. They're strong enough to not be invaded and conquered by their neighbors, but they are not strong enough to take over the whole area, so to speak. So it's a lot of fairly equal. It's a little bit like Europe pre-World War I or something like that. It's like
I have kind of a problem with the way the Greyhawk Wars destroyed a lot of areas. I mean, utterly destroyed.
Oh yeah.
Like Medesia.
Yeah. It became there was a lot of wastelands here and there everywhere. Yeah.
Why obliterate these areas? Why can't they just be change hands? Why can't someone just conquer?
Yeah, to me it sounds a bit like if I'm cynical with and try to apply a 2020 vision here from seeing things from behind. It's almost like someone wanted to tear up everything, so every area of Greyhawk could have its undeads, its demons, its humanoids, whatever, monsters running around everywhere for the Living Greyhawk campaign. So it's almost like someone had that plan and they tear everything up to make it, because otherwise it would be kind of boring. Who want to be gaming in Medegia? There would be nothing down there happening really, and large areas will be boring. Like who wants to play in Ernst or something like that? It was like, but the Ernst are the only area really that didn't get torn up by it. So the Ernst areas are kind of the safest in they're like the safest, most untouched areas of the Flannies. But I get the sense that was why that happened.
Ius didn't, when he got the Shield lands and the Bandit Kingdoms, he didn't really go across the lake. If he
No,
was a
he
native, if he was
exactly
a
he
native,
didn't. But yeah, he probably got enough with Furyundi and all the other ones after they got into that stalemate phase, so to speak.
yeah.
So yeah,
So, oh yeah.
and we always have for Bobonk, or that area didn't get touched either, and Keoland didn't get touched much either. It was kind of
Well, that's one of the interesting things about Furiandi's taxes is that the northern parts are actively on the front fighting IU
yeah.
needs all this money, and so all the rich kingdoms to the south
Yeah, like Willip and the areas
have to
next to
send money up to the north
yeah,
because hey, everything's peaceful there
yeah,
because the north is taking all the hits.
yeah, and they
Or,
don't want to pay for all the reconstruction
yeah,
and all of it that way.
yeah, that's true. Gribbly, they I guess they could come back eventually. I
Yeah.
just think it's weird how they're just chess pieces knocked off a board,
Yep.
and
They
nothing.
wanted, yeah, it seemed Carl
Uh,
Sargent, he kind of uprooted so much, and in many ways it was fun, and I kind of like it a lot, but what I don't like is that the Horn Society disappears. That's my biggest caveat, so to speak. But I love the Elissa kind of United Kingdom of Elissa, Great Kingdom. A lot of that area is kind of really cool.
it's unfortunate that the Horn Society and IOs are like
yeah,
adjacent.
yeah,
If
exactly.
Horn
I want the
Society was down by Q land,
yeah.
that would have
That
spread out the evil a little
exactly.
better.
You need there should be a villain in most areas
Yeah.
around somewhere, but
Yeah.
so yeah, now I use the super villain, the he become the Sauron of the Flanese, and in many ways that's kind of interesting to have a super villain, and but on the other hand it might be a bit overwhelming with just one big evil. So yeah.
Mm.
Oh yeah, now
Well,
Mordenkainen is watching us again. Yep. Yep.
um, what are we doing next week?
We were supposed to talk about our campaigns, but we're doing that kind of right now and some
Yeah, we are.
speculation. Yeah, so we can see what we have. It's the pre-GaryCon kind of. Should
Okay.
we speculate? Should we do a speculation episode on speculate on what the future of Greyhawk from a publishing standpoint? These kind of rumors and ideas, or should we stay out of that hot mess topic?
I would wait because that's going to be more of what happens at Gary Con.
Yeah.
I can talk about it after.
We can have 5 minutes and save say what we think might whirls and or something. Yeah, or yeah, we'll see. Yeah.
I don't know. We'll find some.
But Gribbly has an interesting question now. Is there an heir to Furyundi, or could that be a civil war? That's a very interesting, and that's another thing that I was planning to have in my campaign. So now is another. This is not so much a spoiler, but it's like future players should listen. They should not, and that's one thing that I'm planning. I'm going to roll a die and not know when it happens, but I'm planning that King Belvor is, or sorry. What's a Thrommel or no, that was an earlier king. But anyway, but
Belvor's he's the king.
Yeah. So that he's old and he was like 80 something years, and he will simply die of old age.
Right.
And I don't know when that's going to happen. I'm simply going to roll a die and increase the percentage, like from 1% to 2% and so on. So it will happen probably. It will happen for sure within the next couple of years, and I will just increase the percent from 1 every couple of months. I will just increase the percentage, and eventually it will happen, but I don't know when it will happen, so it will strike me as a surprise too. And then
I don't know how the succession would go then. I don't know.
Yeah, so then but then I have to start preparing and see what the different contenders for the throne is, because there is no, unless for some reason he might be able to kind of announce or declare someone to take over, the crown prince of some sort, but that requires that is kind of agreed upon by all the other the counties and the different parts of Furyundi and the power players in the area, so to speak. They have to recognize him as an heir. And if that's too late and is not the person that is well seen, then yeah.
Well, I think an easy out for you would be whoever is currently the Grand Marshal.
That's yeah. At
'Cause if
least they
there's an
he can be an
active war going
interim.
on,
Yeah, can be an
that's
interim
who's
at
in
least.
charge.
Yeah. So and then you have all sorts of other interesting things, meaning political weakness is something that neighbors, in this case probably IUs, can prosper on, so to speak. So there might
Hmm.
be interesting things happening simply around there. So I'll play it by
Mhm.
ear because I don't want it to be a railroaded story. So I haven't written it. I just have the big players and their interest, and then I'll go from there, and simply roll and see when or if it might not even happen during the next campaign. We'll see. And but if it happens, then simply go with it and see what happens. So I kind of write down each day. I have kind of an idea what the other ones do and what their desires and spur of the moment, and
That's
then I
cool.
roll the die and see if they have a bad day. They might go be angry and start something and so on. So it's kind of yeah.
I used to do a lot of stuff like that back in the day, deciding the fates of entire battles and
Mm-hmm.
kingdoms and
Yeah.
things on one die roll. Nowadays, not so much.
No, what I do is that I kind of I try not to stir up too much. But in this case, it will probably be that something like that will happen, and then it will be going in some direction. But I don't think that the campaign will be long enough for something to really major to happen. The Burundi will probably not be in a civil war, but there might be things happening that the characters might either be witness or they might actually, depending on what allegiances they and what roles they decide to play, they
Yeah.
might be caught up in it. So yeah, there might be all sorts of other stuff that will happen in. So yeah,
Malton mentions the Sea Prince as being
yeah, that's an area of expertise.
uh,
You've been
the
adventuring down
villains
there
of the
quite a
South.
bit. So yeah.
And now I've run a lot of Sea Princes
Mm-hmm.
campaigns now,
Yeah.
and I kind of take Prince Gian of Monmurg as actually a buccaneer who's good.
Uh-huh.
And I
Okay.
contrast that with the ruler of Port Toli,
Yeah.
who is his political rival, and
Mm-hmm.
they're like those are the bad pirates, and
Yeah.
these are the good buccaneers.
So
And
so
so
it's kind of and that's an interesting, cool area that way. So how is the Scarlet Brotherhood influence? Do they have control over that area
well,
or?
in 576, they're still in hiding
Oh yeah, that's true. Then they haven't come out and kind of grabbed the yeah.
because
Mm-hmm.
I'm not really interested in this conquered sea princes. Conquered sea princes to me is boring.
Yeah.
What's their there's nothing interesting about that to me. I want the pirates. I want the political intrigue. I want
Mm-hmm.
the
Yeah.
rivalry with Qland and
Yeah, there's a little bit of that, but it becomes more like Scarlet Brotherhood versus Keeland, and then with some lizards and troglodytes, whatever, living in
uh,
the his cow,
there's
whatever it's called, in out in the yeah.
Sea Princess has so much more potential than just being
Yeah. I'll see
a
if I
de
can
facto
get
navy for
the.
the Star Brotherhood.
I'm going to zoom in here, and then I'm going to fix the video here a bit. So I'm going to zoom in so we know what we're talking about here. So you can continue talk. I'm going to fix the video here so a bit here. Let's see here.
St. Michael's asking about Brazimal the Bright and the Immediate Jungle. Are you saying how they work together? Because I've seen two different sources. One that Brazimal lives in the Rift Canyon, and then another one that he lives in the Hell Furnaces, I guess, which would put him closer to the Immediate Jungle. I would prefer Brazimal to be down in the Hell Furnaces myself. I think Hell Furnaces. Maybe I'm confusing him with a different dragon. At any rate, I think too many dragons concentrated in the north is bad. So I would spread them out. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
I mean, he is the big red dragon. If some, Brazimal would be for me the Smog of Greyhawk.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And if that dragon was in the central Flaneus, he would have to have more influence in what's going on in Greg Wars, IUs, or whatnot. He couldn't just be like laying low or anything. Um, And yeah, okay, well, there you go. Lives in a ruined city in the Immediate. I think that's brilliant. He should be
Yeah.
old. He should have been around during the height of these Olman empires or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
or the Sul Empire for that matter, because we know back in the day the Sul contested with the Fiery Kings, which are red dragons, and for all we know, Brazimal might have been one of those Fiery Kings or the last of them or something. And the Sul mages were so powerful they probably hunted down and killed most of those red dragons. And I would give Brazimal a great backstory, I say.
Yep, I'm going to open the other better map. I just had my little spread map to take notes on, so we can have all the stuff ready to go here. Yeah, but the dragons. We need to come back to another dragons episode sooner or later. Yeah, because we had one when we listed and stuff. So then we need to start figuring out what the role of dragons
what they're actually doing, right? And I never really put much thought into that. Like, there's another red dragon in Greyhawk Ruins, Farcloon. Really high level, great worm, something or other. And it's like, what's this red dragon doing under the ruins of Castle Greyhawk, essentially, in second edition?
Yeah.
There's no backstory or anything that I can recall. So what happens if this dragon gets out? What if he's, changed, polymorphed into something else? What's he up to? What's his reason for living there besides maybe magic items? Did he know Zagging?
Was Zagging involved in him getting trapped in there? So Zagging might trap more than I use. He might trap dragons too.
Right. So those are the red dragons. A lot of possibilities. A merchant, nice. I know in my campaigns, I always used a lot of blue dragons for whatever reason. I'd have them either in the Dry Steppes, Sea of Dust, Bright Desert, Volt. For some reason, I used a lot of blue dragons. There was the Blue Dragon Inn in the city of Greyhawk. Can't remember who ran that place, but they had like a slain blue dragon head in there.
Yeah. Is it the Green Dragon Inn, the official name for it? Yeah.
Well, the Green Dragon Inn is ran by the Blue Dragon's just a copy of the Green Dragon Inn.
Ah, okay, cool.
The Green Dragon Inn is the one ran by Roblar.
Yep.
And it's probably named after those green dragons he actually subdued.
Yep.
He actually beat and got some green dragons, I guess, that maybe worked for him. I don't know.
Yep.
What the deal was.
Yeah, we have one
and
of
that's why it's on his shield.
Yep. The green dragon that I've had most in my now I opened the wrong here. It's the I should open the other file here, so I skipped that. I should open my campaign file because I have way more dragon layers on that one. So I'll open my campaign file here. So it's the one that I named Rothkor. That is in the that's the one that is mentioned not by name, but the old green dragon that is in Gord Adventures in the second book, I think it is, when they come with that chariot of fire, and there's a green dragon coming up from Welkwood, I think it is, and that's the one and they've encountered a few times and had run-ins with that green dragon. So that's one that kind of were part of many. But in my campaign, he has an kind of an arch nemesis because there's a gold dragon that lives in Selene, that is the protector of Selene. That is
That
kind
makes
of
sense.
so the green dragon, he hunts down the wild coast and out at sea and other areas. He stays away from West and Selene and those areas because there's a Arkail is the name, and he's one of the seven protectors of Bahamut. So
Nice.
he lives in Selene, and he has an elven normal identity, so to speak, and he's one of the secret protectors, and he's also a knight of Luna, and he is one of the secret protectors of Selene. So that's one of the reasons it's real hard for anyone to really hit Selene, because they have in my Greyhawk campaign take on it, dragons are a bit like nuclear weapons. It's a bit like you can have protection or the enemy from it, and they're kind of, they have that kind of overview, but they also have severe limitations. They, in order to breed, they need to either kill some other dragons and have dragon bones to feed their eggs from, so to speak, because their eggs need to be nurtured using either dragon bones or treasure. That's a substitute for dragon bones. That's why the dragons need to either kill some other dragons, and evil dragons that will kill any dragon and just use the bones. Good dragons tend to use volunteer, meaning old good dragons, they go to die in certain areas where, and then the younger ones actually go there, collect the bones, or clutch the eggs there, so to speak. So hatch their eggs there. So it's more kind of a planned cooperative thing to, in order to breed, and more controlled. So that's one of the reasons that the dragons are not populating everywhere, because they're so powerful, and they're also limited, and so there's a bunch of them, and then there's a red dragon that I use have struck up with, that I forgot the name of. One of he's mentioned in some of the, he lives up by the Great Rift, Canyon Rift, and I guess that red dragon kind of started to live there, both because it was kind of a nice evil area, and he could strike a bargain with Ayus and say that I can protect your southern border a bit, and you just leave some of that power in the area to me. And he's also out for Dragotha's bones, because they are
Oh.
some of the most powerful treasure to be had in if you're a red dragon and
Hmm.
you can kind of make a nest with the bones of Dragotha, then you will have the most awesome stash of powerful bones that you can have, and that can attract a lot of females and other dragons and stuff, so you can mate with and connect it. So it's kind of, in my world, it's the red dragons, the male dragons, they collect treasure in order to get the females to come there and lay egg and mate with them. And if they're not powerful enough to defend it, the female will kill the male dragon once they mated and steal the treasure, and to
Nice.
secure. So the male dragons have to make sure they don't try and mate with a female dragon that is too powerful, because she will kill him and take his treasure and his bones in order to secure. So it's kind of they're evil against each other too. So it's kind of a power dance. So mating rituals of red dragons are behold, you could, it's a spectacle to see from a distance, so to speak, and it can be really interesting. So that's building a lot of cool things. So there's a whole bunch of these kind of things, and then I use, he only took that red dragon involuntarily because he had two shadow dragon that have the abyssal template. Those are two shadow dragons, abyssal shadow dragons, that are his guardians of the Doraka, so to speak. Big ones, really big ones, are some of his protectors, so to speak. So if you want to invade Doraka, you have to deal with two major shadow dragons, really big ones.
That's
Two,
good.
yep. Those are the really powerful ones. So those are some of the ideas. And then in my Alyssa campaign, I have had some black dragons in there that I had so much fun with, and the let's go in here, and I can I have some name. Now we're going to campaign anecdotes and stuff. But Jay did that in his channel. He had some awesome anecdotes and stuff. So we can do the same thing here a bit. So I'll switch back in. So in my campaign now, if you see up here, you can see here on the I have the mouse on here. Here you can see where we are. So we're over here by the old near the old Thelwood that is now after the war called Bonewood, and there is the zoom in a little bit here. The now we're in the Principality of Reldevin, and in there is Black Splinter. That's another prince of the former Great Kingdom that is a vampire, and he has his hold is in Black Splinter, and he needed a guardian and a black dragon that is an up and coming. Called a female called Ratukash. She Dark Spikes, and she has her lair in the Splinter Marshes that surrounds Black Splinter, and that's a dragon that my adventurers ran into. So I had some of the awesome encounters. They were actually had down here in the Ongi River here down here along the road just here. They stayed overnight, and the Ratukash was after kind of see what the hell they were doing. So she kind of flew ahead and was hiding in the river because the river was kind of wider in the area, so it was like a small lake. So she was actually hiding in there. But during the night, the characters were like, it smells funny here. And there was some dead fish floating up, a dead goat, and some other stuff floating up. And then there was a stench coming, and they were kind of, this is something weird. So they had to investigate. And then she struck from under the water, so to speak. So she came up from the water, and she dragged one of them in, and they had a good fight. And then she decided, nah, I don't want to die over this. And so they had a good kind of fight, and then she took off again. And so she had a kind of a checking things out. So that was, so she's around. Those are some of the dragons that I've been having in my campaigns. But I tried to make dragons work mechanically by both limiting them and getting them powers, and also that the dragons that have we talked about that in an earlier show, but I can just mention it a bit, that the dragons that have a natural ability to shapeshift into human or some other humanoid form, that they actually when they're young, the first other humanoid similar creature they can change into, the first other bond they have with, that's the type of creature they will be able to turn into. So and then they will become that human or elf or humanoid or whatever it is for the rest of their life, so to speak. So when they're hatchlings, they're a little baby, and then when they go up and become young, they become teenagers and so on and so forth. So they stay young long, but they stay according to their age group. So when they're great worms, they're old, so to speak, humans or elves or something. So that's why I have good dragons actually place their hatchlings in certain areas, so they will actually become human or elven or whatever it is. So they will become humans or have that alternate form, so to speak. So they put them to school, kind of, so to speak. Yep. So those are some of the ideas that I have with dragons in my campaign. Okay, now we have some cool questions. Hopefully, I'll see some. Do blue dragon? Oh yeah, you get some. Gribbly have some more things about the blue dragon inn. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Parentlands, who owns it?
Ah, okay. Mm-hmm.
My brain's just about done. I think we're past.
Yeah, I think we're good for. Yeah, we got some anecdotes and stuff to fill out the bardic performance for today. So yep.
Yeah. We'll pick this up next week. And
yep. Mm-hmm. We can pick it up and have it a little bit more prepared and certain things.
Answer more questions and speculate some more.
Yep.
In the meantime, you can find us on Discord, either the Greyhawk channel or there's also a Cannon Fire Discord and a Greyhawk Online Discord.
Mm-hmm.
Lots of avenues for Greyhawk fans to join.
Yep.
Otherwise, we'll see you all next week. Come back.
Yes, please come back. And next week we will have a more kind of normal, organized show, and we can have more of a topic. Because we planned that we have them on, but we weren't really sure if we were going to just talk about things. But they just had a live concert, so that was kind of cool.
Hey, Goontaka, now you show up.
Oh wow, okay, yeah, we were
I
just
don't
about to
know.
wrap up. Yep.
I don't know when the recording goes up.
And it will be available on Twitch probably within a few minutes. Yep, because
Oh,
it
there you
goes
go.
quickly. Yep. So just after the when we end the stream, just go to the and just refresh your browser, and it should be available in just a few minutes from Twitch.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Enjoy.
Mm-hmm. So thank you everyone for showing up and to this kind of special upside down show.
Upside down.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Okay, so yeah, stay safe and in this wintry, snowy, rainy, whatever it is, and see you next week. Bye.